This is a special record in the matter of Timothy William Lewis Yoder. The file number is 221119OM. When I came in this morning and looked at the overnight jail roster, I saw that Mr. Yoder had been arrested for violation of bond condition. That was all I knew about it. I didn't see anything more about it. I didn't know what the circumstance was. I got back from a lunch meeting and still didn't know anything about it. And so my secretary brought in the file. And then I learned Size was going to be calling in. So Casey Strong is here.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear you, Your Honor.
Just a minute, Sergeant. I can.
Bear with me when I get somebody. Okay, I'm sorry.
I can sure hear him in the background. Anyway,
yeah,
Mr.
Very well too.
Yoder, your lawyer, Rhonda Ives, is here with us, and Casey Strong is here from the prosecuting attorney's office. Let's recap. The allegation is that on or about June 20th, that you assaulted Stativa Cook or Angela Barker. I can't remember who the complainant witness is. Angela Barker is the complaining witness. You pled not guilty, said you wanted a jury trial, and said you had videos of everything. You had a condition of bond that says you're not to have any contact whatsoever with Angela Barker. Let's take a look at that. Thank you. My secretary just put this in, well, my staff just put it in my queue. The conditions of your bond were you're not to consume any alcohol, take a test upon demand, no contact whatsoever with Angela Barker, no weapons, and no assaultive behavior. Last week, you pled not guilty, and I was going to set this for a jury trial. The officer did everything right. He filed a complaint for violation of conditional release at Timothy William Lewis Yoder is currently on bond, and those conditions allow he's not having any contact with Angela Barker. Mr. Yoder was found to be in the same motel room at the American Inn as his wife, Angela Barker. Timothy acknowledged that he knew he was on bond conditions, preventing him from having contact with Angela, and that he was violating those conditions by being in the same room with her. That is the nature of the bond violation allegation. Have you had a chance to discuss this with your lawyer?
I have not, Your Honor.
As you can imagine, I'm not real happy about this.
I can imagine, yes.
I just saw you last week.
You did.
And now, one thing, they didn't indicate that any alcohol or drugs were involved. I didn't see his booking sheet.
No.
There's no indication of alcohol here.
No.
All right. Do you want to talk privately with your lawyer for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll put you in a breakout room.
I don't know how that'll affect anything. I'm sure I'll talk with Miss Ives for a moment.
All right. Sometimes the jail booking sheet shows whether they took a preliminary breath test, but there's no information in anything I have that drugs or alcohol were involved here. So I guess I'll assume they weren't. They got dispatched. They said they were dispatched there for a mail they were looking for. I don't think he has anything open. I don't know why they were looking for him. This case has got problems too. Well, it was all in there, but I didn't know it. Wasn't in my queue. I didn't have the file, so I didn't know it was set, but I do now. And the original booking and bond information isn't in here. That's mislabeled, and there's only one page of 6 in the file. So I don't remember any of the underlying facts. There's no affidavit of probable cause. There's no bond information report. And you probably don't have any more information than I do as to why they were looking for him.
I don't have any information as to why they were looking for him. I don't see any open cases.
They were looking for him, and then they got confirmation that there was a no contact condition. Darn it. Do you have in your file a booking and bond information sheet of the original facts?
The original domestic
The
violence
original
case.
domestic violence case. It shows it's in here, but it is not. I don't have an affidavit of probable cause. I don't have a bond information form. I can't tell what the allegation was other than he got arrested.
I have a police report, a supplemental, the domestic violence relation incident report, but I do not have an affidavit or a.
All right, I don't think I'm entitled to have that information in the light of the fact he hasn't yet been convicted, but
That is all I have.
Casey, are you still in there?
Yes.
It
yeah, it's
sounds
gonna take
like
59 seconds to close the room unless he jumps in,
That's,
so.
Mr. Yoder sounds like he would like to plead guilty to the bond violation. And he would like to plead guilty to the DV charge. With your agreement that you would recommend the diversion. Cause he's never had a domestic violence. He really wants to, at some point go forward on his case, he was there to visit his son and he wants to put his family back together. He missed his counseling meeting with CPS today because he's in jail. CPS is involved now because of the incident. So he missed that. And so he's supposed to have an interview tomorrow or Monday.
Well, we're kind of reading between the lines. Someone dispatched the cops over there, which may have been CPS. I guess we'll find out. Mr. Yoder, you've had an opportunity to discuss this with your lawyer.
Yes.
Ms. Ives, she was all over this. She contacted me before I was even aware I had this up, which I greatly appreciate. Casey Strong is here from the prosecutor's office. The original charge, let's go back to that, alleges that on or about June 20th that you made an assault upon Angela Barker. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. You have some other charges on your record. I didn't find any assaultive crime except maybe a disturbing the peace. There was an old A and B that was dismissed many years ago. Domestic violence also would require that you lose your firearm privileges, but you have felony convictions and you can't have a firearm anyway. But Ms. Ives is requesting we do a sentence that would include treatment and a possibility for a deferral. There's also the immediate allegation that you violated your bond by having contact in violation of my order. What Ms. Ives represented is that you are willing to plead to the original domestic violence charge and plead to violating your bond. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. And you'd like to get your family back
Absolutely.
on track. Is that true, Mr. Yoder?
Oh yeah, I want my family back. I want this behind me. I don't want to create no more. I don't want to create no more waves. I don't want no more problems. I just want my family.
Well, that's not totally unreasonable. I've got to need more information though before I do any sentence. So let me ask you this: did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to either the bond violation or the original charge?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody threaten you to get you to do that?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you plead to the charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
I do, Your Honor.
If you had a trial, Ms. Ives would be here with you. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand all that?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, let's go back to June. Were you and Angela living together at that time?
Yes, we were, Your Honor. Yes.
Where did this take place?
Well, since I had gotten out of prison in 2021, February, and since then we've been living in a hotel. I mean, housing is just hard to find right now. So,
Yes.
you know, that's where all this transpired, was at the hotel there. I mean,
All right, well, did you and she get in an argument that day, June 20th?
I mean, sure, yeah, tensions were kind of high, you know, given I had just gotten hurt at work. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to return back to work. Like, well, there was a lot of uncertainty.
Well, what happened that day?
Well, Your Honor, we, you know, I came in, I had been out, I'm not sure where, but I came back into home. And, you know, naturally, I probably I didn't say probably the things to her that I should have said, if anything, you know, regarding what I was going to do and how I was going to make sure that our family was going to be taken care of, you know, with employment and whatnot. I don't know that I even said anything to her about it. Well, it made her mad. And
Where were you working?
I was working over at Frank Miller and Sons on Bojan Road right there in Sturgis.
All right. So go ahead, then what happened?
Okay, so I got hurt and well, I ultimately ended up losing my job. Well, I'm not really sure what went through her mind. I don't know. She got mad. She got super mad. And then the next thing I
Send me
know,
that report.
well, I mean, there was some yelling, obviously, and she came at me and I pushed her back, you know, just to stop her from punching me. And I just pushed her back. You know, I was trying to get out the door to leave. And she was out, and then she got on the phone with the police and said that I beat her. I don't know.
Had you been
I
drinking?
did push her. Yes, I did push her, Your Honor. I did.
Had you been drinking?
Absolutely not.
How about methamphetamine?
I'm sorry.
Methamphetamine, had you been using?
Not at that time. No, I did have a relapse right there within that month or so.
All right, is your parole done?
My parole is done, Your Honor.
All right.
I had no problems. I walked it all the way through, not one violation. You know,
Very good.
and now I'm looking at trying to get myself back on track to be healthy for my family again. You know, I started counseling, which actually I should have been in counseling today for CPS that's in our lives. You know, I'm trying to be proactive. Me
Well,
doing
you're
this
doing
doesn't.
counseling because Protective Services is making you do counseling. It wasn't
No,
like
no,
going
they're
out
not.
and
They asked me if I would like services. I said, absolutely, absolutely. That's how that went. But they didn't force me. They didn't say, well, you're gonna do this or we're gonna take your child. No.
Right. All right, so tell me about last night. You went over to
Okay.
the motel?
Well, Your Honor, I mean, I know I'm not supposed to be there. I know we just spoke last week. I know all these things and
It's on its way.
I disregarded it. I apologize to the court. I apologize to you. You know, it wasn't to undermine the court. I just miss my son. You know, he's autistic.
How about last night? Had you been drinking or using last night?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
No.
good.
And well, what happened is I was on the phone with my daughter who was in the house there. And she was telling, you know, she was talking with Hunter and I was talking to him a little bit and he started crying. He wants his dad, that's it, you know? So I went against my better judgment and I went down there to tuck him into bed, was all. And I was go back home. That was it. That was it. I mean, that makes me
Somebody
guilty.
called the cops
What's that?
and I don't know who called the police.
I'm not sure. It didn't come from that room though. I mean, there was no fight, no arguing. There was nothing, you know. I hadn't even spoke to Angela. I was talking to my, you know, I was there with my son. When the cops showed up, I was physically putting him in the bed, you know, and then I was gonna leave.
All right. I'll accept your plea as to both. Let's take a look at this. Rhonda, you're scheduled to be here at 11 o'clock on October 3rd. How's that work?
Yes, I believe I am scheduled to be there on October the 3rd at,
11.
is it 11 or 10:30 for Miss Herrick?
It's 10:30, I guess. How about if we set this for 11 o'clock?
I have
10:03.
two, you know what, Judge, I've got two motions that I have to do at 11 a.m. by Zoom from your county.
Yeah. That's from my county or from another county?
I
Yeah,
have.
that's why we set that for 10:30. Let's take a look here. I don't want to jam you up any worse, but be fine.
I could be there by 10 or,
Well, the problem is I got other stuff to do.
okay,
How are you on Wednesday, October 5th at 11?
I'm going to be there that afternoon, Your Honor, for a matter at 1 p.m. in Circuit Court, but I've got my community service meeting at noon. It'll be really rough for me to,
All right, well, let's figure this out.
I don't believe my motions will take very long on Monday morning, Your Honor. If the court had patience with me on Monday, October 3rd, I believe I would be off my Zoom hearings. They're Zoom motions. I think they're gonna be relatively short motions. There's two of them
Right.
and it's 11 a.m. I think I
Why
would,
don't we just set it for 11? I've got another case set at 11. I'll do that one. And then when you're ready, we'll do this.
okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Need police report, bond info, victim input. That's as soon as I can get it set for sentence. October 3rd is just next Monday. I'm supposed to give 10 days notice to the complaining witness. No, it's a week from that. It's 10 days from now, but I'm going to cancel your bond.
You're canceling my bond, Your Honor?
Yes, I am. I'm serious as a heart attack that you weren't supposed to have any contact with her. You're
Your Honor,
just
I-
off of parole on a third offense methamphetamine charge. And you'd relapsed, and I want to know whether methamphetamine is a factor here. I also want to hear
I
from
just told you it
Protective
wasn't.
Services.
I don't,
Well, I'm pleased to hear that. I hope it bears out. But yeah, your bond's canceled. You're no longer presumed to be innocent. You just pled guilty to violating the
So,
bond and to the
hold
original
hold
charge.
on, please stop here. Can I speak with my attorney a minute? Miss
Sure.
Miss Ives, I told you that we would go ahead and we'd make that plea today if I was going home today. I
I
don't
didn't
well,
know if
that's-
you're,
You're not
I
going
don't-
home today.
What's that?
No matter whether you plead or not, you're not going home today because you violated my bond condition.
Yes,
We'll have a hearing regarding the fact that you violated the bond. We'll take away your admission. You're not getting out of jail. I'm canceling your bond. And then if you want a jury trial, I'll set it for October 12th. So you can either leave your plea on and we'll set it for sentencing for October 3rd, or you can withdraw your plea. You gave me some watered down version of what happened at the hotel. The police report is much worse. She's got bruises all over there. The kids were there when
Look,
this
she-
went down. All
my
right,
wife-
stop. I don't want you to say any more about it at this point until you get a chance to talk to your lawyer. I told you last Thursday not to have any contact with her. I told you at the time I set my bond.
I hadn't.
You
had
went
any
over there
contact,
because
I went
you
to see my
felt like
son.
it.
I went there to
Yeah,
see my
well-
son, Your Honor. I hadn't had any, I had not talked to her.
All
I
right.
went there, I handled my business with my son and I was going home.
You and
didn't
I
have
are
any
on a different, you and I are on a different wavelength here, sir. It's up to you. If you want to withdraw your plea,
I
you
want to
can
get
do
myself
that.
better so I can have my family back.
yes, I've got the same interest. I do have the same interest.
Well, keeping me in
But-
jail is not gonna do that.
Oh, it's gonna help, get your attention.
Mr. Yoder, I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
want to clarify, because I did advise Mr. Yoder that I felt that there would be incarceration imposed on the bond violation. And I felt for sure that you would give him jail. I just didn't know how long. So I did advise Mr. Yoder that he would be looking at a jail sentence on the bond violation. I told him I did not know what kind of jail sentence that he would be looking at on the domestic violence charge.
Well, Mr. Yoder, here are your options.
I
I
guess
don't
I'm
want to
not
make you
clear
do
on
anything you
what's
don't
going
want
on
to do.
here. I don't-
Just a minute, just a minute. You can withdraw your plea on the bond violation and the original charge. I asked you if anybody promised you anything or threatened you, and you said no. But I'll let you withdraw your plea. Then we can set a hearing tomorrow regarding your bond violation. And I would set a jury trial for October 12th. That's the first day I have available. I have to give you a PR bond within 28 days. Or we can continue your two pleas where you admitted the assault and you admitted the bond violation. And either way, you're not getting out of jail till at least October 3rd.
So, Your Honor, I do have, can I ask one question here?
Yes,
So,
certainly.
I've been actively looking for work. Okay, I'm trying to get myself back on track here. This whole ordeal is really taking a toll on my mind. I don't know what to do. Well, instead of letting that hinder me, I'm trying to get back to work and get back to doing what I need to do so I can provide for my family.
Well,
So
I'm with you all the way on that,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'm just starting the interview process for Borough Tool right there in Sturgis. For a skilled machinist position, okay?
well, that's all good. You can do that after October 3rd if you get out on that day. But I'm not letting you out of jail. You poked me in the eye with a stick by violating my bond condition. So you can either continue your plea, I'll set it for sentencing for October 3rd, or I will
So-
cancel your bond and we'll set a bond violation hearing and a jury trial for October 12th on the original charge.
Except that, Your Honor, I have other matters on October 12th, but
All right, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
All right. I guess we'll carry on with the plea. I guess.
All
I
right,
don't-
I'm gonna set the matter then for October 3rd. You'll have a few days to get your head on, think about this. Want to have a serious conversation with you that day. I want to talk to your mother of your children. All right. Do you need to go talk to Debbie?
I did. I was just down there trying to speak to her, but they told me to come down here, so.
Oh, I think that's why Amanda was trying to call in just a second ago. I have
Oh,
to
Debbie,
log
I'll
in.
put you in the waiting room and let you and Rhonda talk.
Yeah, I gotta log in quick to arraignment 2 on Tim Yoder, so I will try to do that quickly while Rhonda's talking to her client after I talk to her. Does that make sense?
All right.
Lots of juggling today.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Yoder got arrested again?
Apparently, I wasn't unaware of that. It must have just happened.
Must be a charge from the jail.
Well, I don't know, but
Huh,
if you go down there, I think they'll let you talk to Debbie.
gotcha. Okay.
She's like the man behind the curtain. I didn't know that Mr. Yoder got arrested. I knew it was gonna be a problem. I had set her for 10:30 on the other case to get ahead of that. But Mr. Yoder, I canceled this bond last week and she was scheduled to be here. Very good. That worked out pretty well. We're trying to fit you in all your obligations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, we knew this would be a problem and I set it on short notice. It looks like it's gonna work. All right, we're ready for Mr. Timothy William Lewis Yoder, please.
All right, I will let Jordan.
All right, thanks. I think maybe he's coming in right now. All
Okay.
right, thanks. Fine.
Do you want me up front? I don't want.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
You were in the right spot.
I think Mr. Yoder also has just got arraigned on a new felony charge and a new DV stemming from an incident on September 21, I believe. But I think Miss Yancey got assigned to that case.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, we're here for background.
Oh, well, thank you. I like background.
We're gonna tag team this one.
I like
That's why there are two of
background
us.
and nuance.
Wait.
Sorry,
Do you want
Rhonda.
to find another defense
Yeah,
attorney?
go grab somebody out of the hall. Defense attorney.
It's not even in here yet. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it's set for, yeah, on the
PEC.
11th.
Okay, so bond in that case is $75,000.
Yes, I went to the arraignment.
Okay, well, it makes this case less consequential, I guess. Or perhaps. Good morning. This is People versus Timothy Yoder. Mr. Yoder is here in the courthouse. And Rhonda Ives is here. We did a bench warrant arraignment last week for a bond violation pending sentence on this domestic violence charge. The defendant entered a plea and I set the matter for sentencing this morning. Ms. Ives was scheduled to be here at 10:30. She had an obligation in Branch County at 11. And we said we would do this when she finished that. So Rhonda, I appreciate your flexibility and willing to work with us on this, but Mr. Yoder was in custody. This was a domestic violence that did occur on July 20th of 2022. It occurred at the motel in Sturgis. The complaining witness, Ms. Barker, is here. She wanted to see what happens today, but she doesn't want to speak or offer any comment, but she is here because she's interested. Also have Deborah Davis from the Prosecuting Attorney's Office and Casey Strong. I learned about 2 seconds ago that you have some new charges and you have a pre-exam conference set for a future date. which was last week.
October 11th, Your Honor, is the PAC.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And
it is
October
on-
18th.
It doesn't, here it is, October 11th. All right. With a very high bond. In this case, the nature of the assault wasn't completely clear. The victim wasn't particularly cooperative. Did give the officer some information in private. So Rhonda, what would you like me to know?
Well, my client wants to work with CPS. Apparently CPS is involved in this case. He wants to reunite, work things with his wife. He wants to be a good father. I suppose anger management and other services that CPS can offer him, he's willing to engage in, wants to engage in those, wants to put his family back together, has never not loved his wife and just wants to work with her as a team and hopefully try to work through CPS too, because this has kind of become an issue with them as well.
All right. I don't know who's handling what. Is the new charge related to the bond violation?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
But there are further bond violations.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Strong.
Your Honor, when we were here together on the 22nd, I provided the bond violation report that we had in our file to the court. I reviewed it myself and I made sure that Ms. Ives had it. That bond violation report did not indicate that there was any assaultive or threatening behavior from the defendant during that incident. But the next day after the bond violation hearing, we found out that there were new charges stemming from the same incident, just different interactions with law enforcement that were assaultive in nature. They were threatening to the same victim. This is a repeated incident, and Mr. Yoder does not respect the bond's conditions. He continues to have contact with Ms. Barker. He continues to have assaultive and threatening contact with Ms. Barker. And he was on the Polycom on the 22nd saying that he wanted to get his family back together and all of these things. Yet the day before he had assaulted his family member. So that sounds like he was being disingenuous to the court, and I would ask for 93 days. Thank you.
In Your Honor, to add to that, on Friday, September 16th, I was in contact with the foster care or CPS worker that had been working with the family. She was concerned because she had been getting information that these two parties were living together. There was information from Sturgis Police to me that they would regularly see him with her at the hotel where they were living, that one of the officers actually approached him as he was standing outside of a window, kind of talking into the window at the hotel. And Mr. Yoder claimed to that officer that he didn't have any bond conditions and that he was just there to drop off his dog because some leash broke or some story or whatnot. And unfortunately, when the officer sent the name to dispatch and dispatch ran his name, there are more than one person with his name, and somehow they did not get the correct one. So when the officer got word from dispatch that there were no there's no bond conditions, there's no PPO, anything like that, the officer had to let him go. And so after he left, the complaining witness who's here revealed what had really gone on and had injuries consistent with what she was saying. So that officer then spent hours searching for Mr. Yoder that night to try to take him into custody on these new charges and was not able to find him. And then that then led to, the 21st, I believe is when Sergeant Cripe and a few of the other officers went to the hotel, found him in the bathroom, not I respect that he wants his family to be happy and healthy. I think everybody does, but he's not
following what the court is ordering. I have no confidence that if he's put on a probation, that he's going to follow the terms of it. I expect that Sergeant Hernandez will be sending up methamphetamine charges that came out of a traffic stop in mid-August. So there's definitely some concerns about methamphetamine in his life as well. So, you know, I felt strongly enough about this case that I went to the arraignment on the new felony charge, and I asked for, you know, the bond to be set in a way that would protect Ms. Barker, even though she may not feel that she needs that protection. You know, the CPS is now further involved with a removal petition. They've got a lot on their plates for both of them, but sitting right where he's at, as Ms. Strong had said, is certainly something that will keep him away from methamphetamine, away from assaulting anybody, and keep Ms. Barker and her family and society safe. Thank you.
Mr. Yoder, I'm going to give you the last word. You've now been in jail for a while. I think you got your head on straighter.
Absolutely.
When I give people a period of time, they get detoxed a little bit. I can have better interaction. What do you want me to know?
Well, Your Honor, that my wife and I, we've come through some troublesome times. We're no longer boyfriend, girlfriend. We've actually engaged in marriage. Okay, and moving forward with that,
When did you get married?
September of 2021.
Okay.
We're freshly married. It doesn't change the fact that the way I see and the way I was raised to see marriage was one partner for the rest. That's it. Okay. And I've taken this woman here as my wife. I'm not perfect. I struggle. I have problems. And I'm asking the court for help. And going to prison doesn't help. It hasn't helped me. I'm asking for help. You know,
Well, I think that's a worthwhile goal. Yeah, you've been struggling with meth for 20 years. The first case was in 09.
2009, Your Honor. Right.
16, and then you went to prison in 2019.
Right.
Then you got out of prison and you're on the same treadmill you were on. You told me you wanted a diversion program or some sort of drug court. I don't have that in district court.
Sure.
And this isn't a drug case. This is an
No.
assault case.
Right. And Your Honor, I'm not asking just for, there's many areas of my life that are out of control. It's not just drugs. It's not alcohol. It's not, okay, there's many things that I need help with, and I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to approach the court. I don't know how to do these things because of the life that I've always lived. Okay, shame me if you will, but this is where I'm at. I need help.
Well, it takes some. That's the word I want. Courage to admit that you need help. I had a lady here this morning that needs help. She wouldn't tell me that. She doesn't have a problem, according to her.
I got lots of problems.
Yeah, well, you at least are man enough to tell me that. But these are assaultive offenses, and I set bonds and then you ignore them. What have you got in your pocket?
It's just some things that I was trying to address with my attorney here.
Well, you got the other stuff involving your kids, and that's a factor here. As the problems you have, you're visiting these problems on your children, and you are struggling. The circuit court has the ability for some of these programs that you're talking about, but methamphetamine treatment success rate is not the greatest.
Sure.
You are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Absolutely.
And I've let you in jail for 13 days, and you're thinking clearly. I don't know what's going to come of the new case. They had advocated for a $75,000 bond. You've been in jail for 13 days, one up front and the one I just gave you. I'm gonna order 43 days, credit 13, leaving 30 days to serve. Fines and costs, I'm gonna waive except for the mandatory. I'm gonna waive the attorney fee, $125 for 2 days. Now, you're not going anywhere anyway because of the high bond on the other case, and I don't know what those facts are. It sounds like there was some of the right hand not knowing what the left hand was doing here. There are at least 3 people, maybe more, named Timothy Yoder. There's probably thousands, but here in our system, there's 3 or 4. Apparently they got mixed up with someone else. As you know, Yoder is a very common name here in this area. I like what I'm hearing. I like the fact that you are thinking clearly. You're tired of this life you're in and you acknowledge that you need some help. But in this case, I'm just gonna hold on to you until they figure out what they're gonna do with the felony case. I'm not ordering any treatment, no probation, and I'm waiving all the waivable costs. So, Ms. Barker, I do appreciate the fact that you were here. Your next court date, does she have a subpoena?
No, because we haven't even had the PEC yet.
Oh,
So
yeah, good point.
we could start moving.
All right, have you been in contact with the victim advocate at the prosecutor's office? All right, so you guys are plugged in. All right, Mr. Yoder, you're good to go. I want you to get
Your Honor,
back.
my client wants to make another statement. I'm not sure.
All right,
You know, Your Honor, on top of the fact that I need help, okay, my wife is not in, her health is just, it's terrible. Her health is terrible, okay, and she's going through a lot of things as well, you know, that she probably, I'm sure, does not know how to deal with.
well, right now, she gets a timeout from you.
Sure.
Every time the cops come, she's terrified of you and she's afraid to talk to them. And they have to wait till you're out of the picture before she's comfortable enough saying, yeah, he's been assaulting me for the last 3 days. He comes here every day. Now, maybe she wanted you there, maybe she didn't, but in both the first case and the bond violation case, she was fearful to talk to the cops. She needs a timeout from you. Well, maybe that'll help her health. All right, you're good to go, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.